My name is Maddie. I'm a solution-focused hypnotherapist at Old Town Hypnotherapy in Swindon. And today I'm going to be talking about the difference between low mood and depression. We know it's normal to feel down from time to time. Sadness is a very normal human reaction. Even extreme sadness can be normal when faced with certain life events, such as the death of a loved one or breakdown of an important relationship. At times like these, feeling very sad is expected. It's a natural part of the coping process. Low mood can also be an evolutionary response to keeping us safe. For example, if you've got an injury today, you might feel low in the couple of days ahead, and it stops us from throwing caution to the wind and going out to have fun, and keeps you at home focused on your recovery. It's for our benefit. But how do we know if our emotional state reflects something more serious? How do we know if we are suffering from low mood or potentially depression? The two terms are quite confusing and they're used quite interchangeably. And I'm going to attempt to explain some differences today. And the first major difference is that low mood is not actually classified as a psychological illness in the way depression is. Depression results in biological changes in your brain and your brain's ability to both produce and absorb neurotransmitters. It can affect the physical structures in your brain. So if you look through an MRI scanner, you might be able to see the difference between a depressed brain and a healthy brain. Low mood can be unpleasant and challenging, but it doesn't produce the same quantifiable loss in healthy brain function. We don't all have MRI scanners to hand, so how else can we tell whether it's low mood or depression? Well, low mood is usually contextual to life events. So it usually reflects a person's emotional state in relation to their life events. So for example, maybe you have an argument with a loved one, or maybe you have a particularly tricky time at work and face some criticism, or any other life's challenges, and as a result may experience a period of low mood. Depression, however, can manifest for no particular reason at all. It isn't unusual for people with depression to feel quite confused as to why they feel like they do. They'll say things like, I don't know why I'm feeling like this. I should be feeling good. My life is good. I should be feeling happy. And they can feel quite guilty about the fact they don't feel good. They can't understand why, if their life on paper is looking good, they feel so wretched. Low mood usually passes quite quickly. We're talking sort of days, possibly weeks. Depression, however, can linger. We know that low mood is that transient state. It moves on, while depression can only actually be diagnosed if you've had some of the symptoms daily for at least 2 weeks. And the symptoms of depression can be found online, quite readily available. The sufferer of depression can have it for weeks, months, longer, and even have repeated episodes, so recovery in between. Low mood can usually be lifted by taking steps to resolve the situation that caused the problem in the first place, or even just by engaging in mentally healthy behaviours like socialising and exercising. It may be as simple as getting more sleep, or just talking through your problems with somebody to find some solutions. But depression, it drains the person of any motivation, any energy to take the steps necessary to feel better. And even if they force themselves to engage in something, they may struggle to find any kind of enjoyment in it. And it's not to say that low mood and depression aren't linked, because they absolutely are. Low mood can, not always, not usually, but it can be a precursor to depression. If the low mood is particularly severe or particularly prolonged, it can start to have a detrimental effect on your daily life, and it can develop into a depression. And that's another point. Low mood usually doesn't interfere with your daily life, while depression more than likely does. A low mood can make us feel life is miserable. We're usually still capable of carrying on working and eating and sleeping. It may cause some minor disruptions to our daily routines, but we're still able to function. Depression, however, depending on how severe it is, and there's many types of depression, and there's classifications of mild, moderate and severe. Again, we're not going to go into all the details of depression today, But what we know about depression is it interferes with our normal routines more acutely. And the illness can manifest the opposite end of what is your normal. For example, a depressed person may sleep too much, or maybe sleep too little, or they may find themselves overeating or even finding it difficult to eat at all. Depression can be categorised into the mild, moderate and severe, and the more serious it is, the more of the effect it's likely to have on your daily life. Severe depression can often manifest with people struggling to even get out of bed and engage in any kind of normal activity. Another difference is that depression usually requires treatment, while low mood can quite easily pass without. A low mood usually lifts either when the cause is resolved or because we adapt to the new circumstances. But depression is an illness and it generally requires some kind of treatment. What that treatment looks like depends very much on the individual and how they wish to tackle their depression. For most people, the first point of call must be the GP. You need to go and get a diagnosis of depression. And when they visit their GP and they're diagnosed with depression, they may be offered antidepressants and or talking therapy. Some people find one or other of these helpful or a combination of them. For other people, self-help strategies can help, such as a combination of exercise and meditation and maintaining a healthy routine. The catch-22 of depression is that the behaviours that help the most become the most difficult things for the sufferer to engage in. Things like exercise, things like socialising, and things like maintaining a healthy routine. However, there is a difference between saying or believing something is challenging and something being completely impossible. And at Old Town Hypnotherapy, we talk about the baby steps that we need to take to help our recovery. And we use solution-focused techniques to support people with depression in identifying what the next small step in their recovery could be, and what strengths they already possess that can help them to achieve this next step. Help for low moods is absolutely also available. It's not as though if you have a low mood, it's not important, you don't need help. If you're suffering from low mood, you can still reach out. Talking about how you're feeling and helping to identify solutions can very much help prevent the low mood from reoccurring and help it to lift more quickly. Old Town Hypnotherapy uses solution-focused therapy and hypnotherapy to help people to recover from low moods and depression, along with other kind of disorders. We emphasise that you are the expert on you. Brains, as we know, are hugely complex structures and we don't fully understand them yet. So if you feel that things are not right for you and you are struggling with life, listen to your gut and go and get some help, go and visit your GP or reach out. We offer free in-clinic or online initial consultations to everyone who would like to learn more about how we can help. And if you're feeling suicidal or you're feeling that you might want to harm yourself or others, please get help immediately. Call your GP, call the Samaritans on 116 123 or call NHS Direct on 111. Thank you. Bye-bye.